at the ABCD Solution Series for the start of a 3-part series on trauma. We're starting with When No Place Feels Safe, the effect of trauma on unaccompanied homeless youth.
Today, we're very privileged to be able to talk about an issue that even at ABCD, we deal with all of the time. Many of you know we run 3 high schools. Up to 25% of the students in some of our high schools are homeless.
Young folks who are experiencing homelessness often feel really deeply that lack of safety and security. It often means that they can't sleep because shelters aren't safe, the outside isn't safe, and there are thousands of young adults in the Commonwealth every year who experience homelessness. When you are in the state of not knowing who is safe, where you can turn to, where you're going to get your next meal, you start to have anxiety, you start to have trust, you start to react to situations that might actually be safe, but your body and brain are telling you are not safe.
At the age of 13, my father passed away and my mother went to prison, which categorized me as an unaccompanied homeless youth. From there, I would couch surf from family members to friends for about 3.5 years until I found a permanent place with my best friend's family. One of the most important things that an unaccompanied youth needs to have addressed is the trauma that they have faced in their life and the ability to get past it. Some type of trauma or life event is the reason why they are facing homelessness, but usually a youth isn't facing it due to a circumstance because of their own fault. So when they're reaching out for these services, they don't necessarily even have the life skills to pick up a phone call or advocate for themselves. The biggest thing that helped me exit my experience of homelessness is the focus on education, and I really think that was the deal breaker for me.
Having peer voices available within different organizations to help speak to people one-on-one where they are at from somebody who has walked in the exact shoes that they're in. That's the way you're going to reach somebody, you're going to be more impactful on them, they're going to be more comfortable coming to you, is just basically be who you are. I myself have experienced homelessness for roughly 10 years. Try and help use the knowledge that I've lived through and help to teach others a little bit of what it's like to firsthand be in this kind of position.
Out in the streets, it's freezing cold. Even us with a home, we can't even stay out there for that long a period of time. So that's pretty traumatic if you have nowhere to go. The kids that come in, once they're there, the first thing is now you're safe. You don't have to worry about being out on the street, so it's the first thing. So you have your own bed, we'll go from there. We also have the transitional living program. It's 24-hour supervised, so there's staff there all the time, and this is where kids live. And what I found that works there a lot is those relationship building. We just want that short period of time that you're with us. It's somewhere of home that you feel comfortable.
My 3 words were collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. There are enormous resources in our communities. The biggest problem we have is getting them connected and reducing the barriers to accessing those services. So it's all about how you collaborate. Know where those resources are so we can connect young people as they need them, when they need them, not 6 months later, not 30 days later, not 2 years later. When those red flags start showing up, that we're able to make those connections.
People are coming together. This is the first year that state money has been available for providers in Massachusetts to work with unaccompanied homeless young adults. It's really the first opportunity that we're able to target services specifically to young adults, and not only 18 to 24-year-olds, but to work younger than that also and do a lot of prevention. A lot of working with a traumatized young adult is really want to be consistent. You want to be available to a student in a moment of crisis. Those small things, just consistency and patience and thinking about what's the function of the behavior of the person who you're working with.
The audience is packed, and they're all experts themselves in this.
How much distance do you need as a young person to be able to come back into housing and offer that peer support? How much older do you need to be? Should you still be under 24?
It's really where you're at mentally, and if you think you can handle the additional responsibility. That's going to be different for everybody, but there's so much potential to be helpful while you're still in a transition period yourself. That's what I think.
For young people who are facing historic trauma and degradation and violence, the issue of integrating them into our community so that they can be housed, productive, and vibrant and lead our future is of absolute importance. Right now, downtown Boston, we're talking about an epicenter of huge amounts of wealth, but we're also looking at an epicenter of addiction and poverty and lack of education and homelessness right here, right out the front door.
Years ago when we were in a presentation, somebody in the audience asked, what can we do to end youth homelessness? And she, who had been on the streets since she was about 13 or 14, said, your job as providers is to get us off the streets as quickly as possible, because the longer we're on the streets, the more bad things happen to us. And the more bad things happen to us, the longer we'll be on the streets.
The sooner we can nip that trauma of being homeless in the bud for youth, the more they will be able to be masters of their futures.